Imagine a teenager who loved video games, was passionate about technology, yet had a faith so deep it touched millions around the world. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary life of Carlo Acutis, the saint of the internet, an example of how holiness can be lived out in our modern digital world. Get ready to be inspired and discover how this ordinary young man became a beacon of hope and faith for our generation. Life and faith of Carlo Acutis, the young saint of the internet. Carlo Acutis was not your typical teenager. While many of his peers were consumed by the latest video games and social media trends, Carlo was on a mission that would resonate far beyond his short life. Born on May 3, 1991, in London and raised in Milan, Carlo was an ordinary boy with an extraordinary soul. From a young age, he showed a deep connection to the spiritual world, a connection that would eventually lead him to be recognized as the first millennial to be beatified by the Catholic Church. As a child, Carlo was drawn to the sacred. By the age of 7, he had requested to receive his first communion, much earlier than usual. His parents, initially lukewarm in their faith, were astounded by their son's devotion. Carlo had a unique ability to see the divine in the everyday, a gift that set him apart from his contemporaries. His deep reverence for the Eucharist, which he described as his highway to heaven, became the cornerstone of his spiritual life. What made Carlo truly remarkable was not just his faith, but how he expressed it. He had a passion for technology, an unusual trait for someone so deeply rooted in spiritual practices. Carlo was a self-taught computer programmer, and he combined this skill with his love for God in a way that was both innovative and impactful. At a time when the internet was still a new frontier, Carlo saw it as a tool for evangelization, a way to spread the message of Christ to the world. His love for the Eucharist led him to embark on a monumental project, documenting and cataloging Eucharistic miracles from around the globe. Carlo spent countless hours researching and creating a website that showcased these miracles, making them accessible to people everywhere. This was not just a hobby for him. It was his way of bringing the presence of Jesus into the digital age, ensuring that even in a world increasingly dominated by screens, the sacred could still be encountered. But Carlo's influence wasn't limited to the digital world. He was known for his kindness, his humility, and his deep sense of empathy. Despite being a teenager, he lived with an awareness of the suffering of others that was beyond his years. Carlo would often use his own pocket money to buy sleeping bags for homeless people he encountered on the streets of Milan. His generosity was a reflection of his belief that all people are born as originals, but many die as photocopies, a quote that has since become synonymous with his legacy. His life, however, was not without its challenges. At the age of 15, Carlo was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of leukemia. Faced with the prospect of death, he did not waver in his faith. Instead, he accepted his illness with a serenity that left those around him in awe. Carlo offered his suffering for the Pope and for the Church, demonstrating a maturity in his faith that belied his young age. He once said, "I am happy to die because I live my life without wasting even a minute on things that aren't pleasing to God." Carlo Acutis passed away on October 12, 2006, leaving behind not only a legacy of faith, but also a roadmap for how to live a life of purpose in the modern world. His beatification in 2020 was not just a recognition of his holiness, but a testament to how one young person's faith can inspire millions. Carlo's life serves as a powerful reminder that holiness is not confined to the walls of a church. It can be lived out in every aspect of life, even in the digital realm. Today, Carlo Acutis is often referred to as the cyber apostle of the Eucharist, a title that perfectly encapsulates his mission. He understood that the internet, often criticized for its potential to lead people astray, could also be a force for good. Carlo's life is a beacon for young people navigating the complexities of modern life, showing that it is possible to remain steadfast in faith while embracing the tools of the 21st century. The story of Carlo Acutis is not just about a boy who loved God. It's about how one person's devotion can transform the lives of others, even after they're gone. Carlo's website on Eucharistic miracles continues to inspire those who visit it, and his life story is a source of encouragement for anyone seeking to live a life of deeper faith and purpose. In a world that often feels increasingly disconnected from the sacred, Carlo Acutis stands as a bridge between the ancient and the modern, the spiritual and the digital. His life is a testament to the idea that holiness is timeless and that it can be achieved no matter the era, no matter the tools at hand. Carlo's legacy is not just preserved in the annals of church history, but in the hearts of those who find in him a model of modern sainthood. Do you have faith in Carlo Acutis? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Eucharistic miracle and canonization, the path to beatification. The journey to sainthood is often paved with extraordinary events, and for Carlo Acutis, a remarkable miracle would become the catalyst for his beatification. While his life was a testament to his deep faith and unwavering devotion, it was a miraculous event thousands of miles away that would seal his place in the annals of the Church as one of its most modern saints. In October 2013, a young boy in Brazil, who had been suffering from a rare and life-threatening congenital disorder known as annular pancreas, experienced a profound healing that defied medical explanation. The boy's family, fervent in their faith, had been praying to Carlo Acutis, asking for his intercession. The young boy, unable to eat solid food and in constant pain, suddenly began to heal. His symptoms disappeared, and he was soon able to eat normally, much to the amazement of his doctors. The case was brought to the attention of the local diocese, and after a thorough investigation by medical experts, the healing was deemed inexplicable by natural means. The Church then began its own process of investigation, scrutinizing every detail of the event to determine if it could indeed be classified as a miracle. The family's prayers to Carlo Acutis were central to this investigation, as the Church requires clear evidence of a miracle attributed to the intercession of a candidate for sainthood. This miraculous healing was submitted to the Congregation for the Causes of Saints in the Vatican, the body responsible for overseeing the canonization process. After rigorous scrutiny and the testimony of medical experts, the Vatican officially recognized the healing as a miracle attributed to Carlo Acutis. This recognition was a pivotal moment, paving the way for his beatification, which is the final step before sainthood. On October 10, 2020, in the midst of a global pandemic, Carlo Acutis was beatified in Assisi, the city of St. Francis, one of Carlo's greatest spiritual inspirations. The ceremony, although socially distanced, was a joyful occasion, attended by thousands of people around the world via live stream. Carlo's parents were present, witnessing the recognition of their son's holiness in a ceremony filled with both solemnity and hope. During the Beatification Mass, Cardinal Agostino Vallini, the papal legate, spoke of Carlo as a beacon for the digital age. He highlighted how Carlo's life and work exemplified a deep love for Christ, particularly through the Eucharist, and how he used modern tools to share this love with the world. The recognition of Carlo as blessed marked him as a powerful intercessor, especially for young people navigating the complexities of modern life. Carlo's beatification was not just a celebration of his life, but also a recognition of the impact that one life, lived fully in faith, can have on the world. His story has resonated with people across the globe, particularly young Catholics, who see in Carlo a role model who lived a life of holiness without withdrawing from the world. He embraced the modern world, using technology not as a distraction but as a tool for evangelization, bringing the message of the Eucharist to a global audience. But the journey doesn't end with beatification. For Carlo Acutis to be canonized as a saint, another miracle attributed to his intercession is required. This ongoing process continues to inspire devotion and prayer, as more people turn to Carlo for help in their times of need. His story is a testament to the power of faith and the enduring belief that miracles can and do happen, even in our modern age. The recognition of this miracle also speaks to the universal nature of sainthood. Carlo, an Italian teenager, interceded for a young boy in Brazil, thousands of miles away. This global connection is a powerful reminder that the communion of saints transcends borders, languages, and cultures. Carlo's intercession is not limited by geography. It is a testament to the universal nature of the Church and the interconnectedness of all its members. As the Church awaits the next miracle that will lead to Carlo's canonization, his beatification has already sparked a renewed interest in Eucharistic devotion, especially among young people. Carlo's life and the miracle that followed his death continue to inspire a generation that is often searching for meaning in a world full of distractions. His story shows that true fulfillment and purpose come from a life lived in close relationship with God. In the years since his beatification, countless people have reported finding strength, hope, and even healing through Carlo's intercession. His legacy, much like his life, continues to grow, proving that even in death, Carlo Acutis remains a powerful force for good in the world. His journey to sainthood, marked by miracles and modernity, is a story that continues to unfold, inviting all who hear it to deepen their own faith and trust in the power of God's grace. Do you believe in miracles? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe. The contemporary spirituality of Carlo Acutis, a saint for the modern world. In a world where spirituality often seems distant and disconnected from everyday life, Carlo Acutis stands as a beacon of how faith can be lived out in the modern age. His life was a remarkable blend of deep religious devotion and an embrace of the contemporary world, showing that the two are not mutually exclusive. Carlo's spirituality was as vibrant and relevant as the times he lived in, making him a relatable figure for many, especially young people searching for meaning in a fast-paced, technology-driven world. Carlo's relationship with technology was not merely casual, it was purposeful. He viewed the internet, social media, and other digital tools not as distractions, but as opportunities for evangelization. Carlo once said, "The internet is a gift from God," and he treated it as such. He believed that these modern tools, when used wisely, could bring people closer to God. This perspective was revolutionary for a teenager in the early 2000s, and it continues to resonate in today's digitally saturated culture. But Carlo's spirituality went beyond his use of technology. At the heart of his faith was a profound devotion to the Eucharist. Carlo attended Mass daily, often saying that the Eucharist is my highway to heaven. He saw the Eucharist as the most direct encounter with Christ, a source of strength, and the center of his spiritual life. This deep reverence for the Eucharist was not something abstract for Carlo. It was a lived reality that shaped his daily actions, decisions, and interactions with others. In addition to his Eucharistic devotion, Carlo had a strong devotion to the Virgin Mary. He prayed the Rosary daily, viewing it as a powerful weapon against the temptations and challenges of life. Carlo's love for Mary was a reflection of his understanding of the Church's teachings, but it was also deeply personal. He saw in Mary a motherly figure who guided him closer to her son, Jesus. This Marian devotion was another pillar of Carlo's spirituality, providing him with comfort and strength, especially during the trials of his illness. Carlo's spirituality was also marked by a profound sense of social responsibility. He believed that faith without action was incomplete. His awareness of the needs of others was not limited to prayer. It extended into tangible acts of charity. Whether it was helping the homeless, volunteering at his local parish, or simply being kind to those around him, Carlo lived out his faith in a way that was visible and impactful. He once remarked, "Sadness is looking at oneself. Happiness is looking at God." This outward focus on others' needs was a key aspect of his spiritual life, one that made his faith both practical and transformative. What made Carlo's spirituality so compelling was its authenticity. He didn't just preach, he practiced. He didn't just talk about God. He lived a life that reflected God's love in every interaction. This authenticity is what drew people to Carlo, even during his lifetime. His peers were struck by his kindness, his teachers by his intelligence, and everyone by his unwavering faith. Carlo's life was a testament to the fact that holiness is not about perfection, but about striving to love God and others in everything one does. Carlo also had a unique ability to relate to the struggles of his peers. He understood the challenges of living a faithful life in a world full of distractions. Yet he didn't shy away from these challenges. He faced them head-on with a sense of joy and purpose. Carlo often encouraged his friends to use the internet and social media to spread positivity and the message of God's love, rather than getting caught up in the negativity that often pervades online spaces. His advice was simple but profound. Use your talents and opportunities to glorify God. Even in the face of his terminal illness, Carlo's spirituality remained unwavering. When diagnosed with leukemia, Carlo did not despair. Instead, he saw his suffering as a way to unite himself more closely with the suffering of Christ. He offered his pain for the Pope and the Church, displaying a level of spiritual maturity that inspired all who knew him. Carlo's ability to find meaning in his suffering was a powerful witness to the strength of his faith and his deep trust in God's plan for his life. Carlo Acutis is often described as a modern mystic, someone who had a deep, intimate relationship with God while fully engaging with the world around him. His spirituality was not about retreating from the world, but about transforming it. Carlo understood that the call to holiness was not just for monks and nuns. It was for everyone, regardless of age, occupation, or interests. He showed that one could be holy in the digital age, that the tools of modernity could be used to build up the kingdom of God. Today, Carlo's approach to spirituality offers a blueprint for how to live a life of faith in the 21st century. He demonstrated that true spirituality is not about isolating oneself from the world, but about bringing the light of Christ into every corner of it, including the virtual spaces where so many people spend their time. Carlo's life challenges us to ask ourselves how we can use the tools at our disposal to grow closer to God and to serve others. Carlo Acutis' spirituality was contemporary in its approach, but timeless in its essence. He lived a life that was fully grounded in the teachings of the Church, yet he made these teachings come alive in a way that was relevant to his time. His life continues to inspire those who seek to live out their faith authentically in a world that often pulls them in many different directions. Carlo's example shows that with a heart fully devoted to God, one can navigate the complexities of modern life with grace, purpose, and joy. Inspired by Carlo Acutis? Comment your thoughts and don't forget to like this video. Legacy Digital: The Eucharistic Miracles documented by Carlo Acutis. Carlo Acutis was not just a young man of deep faith. He was also a visionary who saw the potential of the digital world long before many of his peers, or even adults, did. His understanding of the internet as a tool for evangelization was both innovative and ahead of its time. Carlo recognized that in an era where technology was becoming an integral part of daily life, it could also be a powerful means of bringing people closer to God. One of the most significant projects of his short life was the documentation and cataloging of Eucharistic miracles from around the world, a labor of love that continues to touch lives globally. From a young age, Carlo was fascinated by the stories of miracles, particularly those that centered on the Eucharist. He was captivated by the idea that these extraordinary events were direct signs of God's presence in the world. This fascination quickly turned into a passion as Carlo began to immerse himself in researching Eucharistic miracles. He spent countless hours reading about these miraculous occurrences, compiling information, and verifying facts. What began as a personal interest soon evolved into a mission to share these miracles with as many people as possible. Carlo's decision to create a website dedicated to Eucharistic miracles was nothing short of revolutionary for the time. In the early 2000s, the internet was still in its nascent stages, and the idea of using it as a platform for spreading religious knowledge was relatively new. Yet, Carlo, with his deep understanding of both faith and technology, saw the internet as the perfect medium to reach a global audience. He envisioned a place where anyone, regardless of their location, could learn about the miracles that affirmed the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. The website Carlo created, The Eucharistic miracles of the world became a digital archive of these divine occurrences. It included detailed descriptions, historical context, and, where possible, photographic evidence of the miracles. Carlo's meticulous attention to detail ensured that each entry was accurate and presented in a way that was accessible to both the devout and the curious. The site wasn't just a collection of stories. It was a comprehensive resource designed to educate, inspire, and deepen the faith of those who visited it. One of the most remarkable aspects of Carlo's project was his ability to bridge the gap between ancient traditions and modern technology. The Eucharistic miracles he documented spanned centuries, with some dating back to the early days of the Church. By bringing these stories into the digital age, Carlo ensured that they would not be forgotten but would continue to inspire future generations. His work serves as a powerful reminder that the truths of the faith are timeless and can be communicated effectively through contemporary means. The impact of Carlo's website has been profound. It has attracted millions of visitors from around the world, many of whom have found their faith strengthened by the stories of these miraculous events. For some, the website has been a source of conversion, leading them to a deeper understanding of the Eucharist and its significance in the Catholic faith. For others, it has been a source of comfort and inspiration, a reminder of God's presence in their lives. The site continues to operate, maintained by those who wish to preserve Carlo's legacy and continue his mission of spreading devotion to the Eucharist. Carlo's project also inspired numerous exhibitions on Eucharistic miracles, which have traveled around the world. These exhibitions, based on the content of his website, have been displayed in churches, schools, and religious conferences, bringing the message of the Eucharist to even more people. Through these exhibitions, Carlo's work has reached an audience far beyond the confines of the internet, proving that his vision was truly global in scope. In addition to its spiritual impact, Carlo's website serves as a testament to the potential of young people to make a significant difference in the world. Carlo was just a teenager when he created this resource, yet his work has had a lasting impact on countless lives. His project demonstrates that with passion, dedication, and a clear sense of purpose, young people can harness the tools at their disposal to create something that transcends time and continues to bear fruit long after they are gone. Moreover, Carlo's legacy challenges us to consider how we can use technology in our own lives. In a world where the internet is often associated with distractions, superficiality, and even harm, Carlo's website is a shining example of how it can be used for good. It prompts us to ask ourselves how we can utilize the resources at our disposal to spread positivity, educate others, and deepen our own faith. The legacy of Carlo Acutis' work on Eucharistic miracles is a powerful reminder that the sacred and the modern can coexist harmoniously. His ability to marry tradition with innovation has left an indelible mark on the Church and the world. Carlo's work is a testament to the fact that the message of Christ is not bound by time or medium. It can be communicated through any means, as long as the intention is pure and the mission is clear. Today, Carlo's website continues to serve as a beacon of faith in the digital world. It stands as a lasting tribute to a young man who, through his love for the Eucharist and his understanding of the modern world, brought the two together in a way that continues to inspire and educate. His work is a reminder that even in a world of constant change, the presence of Christ in the Eucharist remains a source of strength, comfort, and inspiration for all who believe. Do you think miracles still happen today? Share your belief in the comments and hit the subscribe button. Carlo Acutis as a role model for the youth, living holiness in the modern world. In an age where young people are bombarded with conflicting messages about success, happiness, and identity, Carlo Acutis stands out as a beacon of what it truly means to live a life of purpose and holiness. His life offers a powerful counter-narrative to the pressures of the modern world, showing that sanctity is not only attainable, but can be lived out joyfully even in the midst of contemporary challenges. Carlo's example resonates deeply with young people, offering them a path to follow in a world that often seems to pull them in 1,000 different directions. Carlo was a teenager like any other in many respects. He loved soccer, had a passion for video games, and enjoyed spending time with his friends. But what set him apart was his profound and genuine relationship with God. For Carlo, faith was not a set of rules to follow, but a relationship to cherish. This authentic connection with God shaped every aspect of his life and became the foundation upon which he built his identity. In a culture where many young people struggle with questions of who they are and what they should become, Carlo's life is a reminder that true identity is found in God. One of the most striking aspects of Carlo's life was how he managed to live out his faith in the everyday moments of life. He didn't retreat into a monastery or live a life of isolation. Instead, Carlo found ways to integrate his faith into his daily activities. Whether it was helping his classmates with their homework, being kind to those who were marginalized, or simply treating everyone with respect, Carlo lived out the gospel in small but significant ways. His life was a testament to the idea that holiness is not about grand gestures, but about consistently choosing love and goodness in every situation. Carlo's approach to life also offers a refreshing perspective on technology and its role in the lives of young people. While many view technology as a distraction or even a danger, Carlo saw it as a tool for evangelization and connection. He was deeply aware of the pitfalls of the internet, but he also recognized its potential to spread the message of Christ. By creating a website dedicated to Eucharistic miracles, Carlo demonstrated how young people can use their skills and interests to contribute to something greater than themselves. His life challenges today's youth to ask themselves how they can use their talents and resources to make a positive impact in the world. Moreover, Carlo's attitude towards popularity and success was profoundly countercultural. In a world where many young people are caught up in the pursuit of likes, followers, and social validation, Carlo remained grounded in what truly mattered. He once said, "What does it matter if you can win 1,000 battles if you cannot win against your own passions?" For Carlo, success was not about worldly achievements, but about growing in virtue and staying true to one's values. This perspective is a powerful antidote to the pressure many young people feel to conform to societal expectations. Carlo's humility was another trait that made him a remarkable role model. Despite his talents and intelligence, he never sought attention or recognition for himself. He was more interested in pointing others towards God. His humility was evident in the way he lived his life, quietly, without fanfare, but with a deep sense of purpose. In an era that often glorifies self-promotion and individualism, Carlo's life is a powerful reminder of the beauty of humility and the importance of putting others before oneself. Carlo's approach to suffering also offers a profound lesson for young people. When he was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 15, he didn't respond with anger or despair. Instead, he accepted his illness with grace, offering his pain for the Pope and the Church. Carlo's ability to find meaning in suffering is a testament to his deep faith and trust in God's plan. For young people who often struggle with the concept of suffering, Carlo's life is a powerful witness to the idea that suffering can have redemptive value when united with Christ. Furthermore, Carlo's life offers a model for how to navigate the temptations and challenges of modern life without losing sight of what truly matters. He was acutely aware of the dangers of sin, particularly the sins of impurity and pride, which he saw as major obstacles to a life of holiness. Carlo's discipline in guarding his heart and mind against these temptations is a powerful example for young people who are constantly bombarded with messages that glorify self-indulgence and moral relativism. His life shows that it is possible to live a life of purity and integrity even in a world that often values the opposite. Carlo's legacy as a role model for young people is further solidified by the fact that he was not much older than them when he passed away. He was a teenager who lived a life of extraordinary faith, but he did so in a way that was relatable and accessible. His story is not one of a distant saint from centuries past, but of a modern teenager who faced the same challenges and temptations as today's youth. This relatability makes Carlo a powerful figure for young people to look up to, showing them that holiness is not just for adults or clergy, but is something that anyone, at any age, can aspire to. In the years since his beatification, Carlo Acutis has become a patron and inspiration for countless young people around the world. His life is celebrated in schools, youth groups, and parishes, where his story continues to inspire young Catholics to take their faith seriously and live it out boldly. Carlo's influence is seen in the growing number of young people who turn to him for intercession, asking for his help in their struggles with faith, technology, relationships, and the many challenges of growing up in the modern world. Ultimately, Carlo Acutis' life is a testament to the idea that holiness is not about being perfect, but about striving to live a life of love, service, and faithfulness to God. He showed that it is possible to be both fully human and fully holy, to enjoy the pleasures of life while keeping one's eyes fixed on heaven. Carlo's legacy challenges young people to rethink what it means to be successful and to consider that the greatest success of all is to live a life pleasing to God. The process of canonization, from servant of God to blessed Carlo Acutis. The journey of Carlo Acutis from a devout teenager to being recognized as blessed by the Catholic Church is a story that intertwines faith, miracles, and a profound global impact. The process of canonization is rigorous, requiring clear evidence of holiness and often miraculous intervention. Carlo's path through this process not only highlights his life's extraordinary nature, but also underscores the meticulous care with which the Church identifies and honors those it believes have led lives of exemplary virtue. The first formal step in the process of canonization is the declaration of someone as a servant of God. This title was bestowed upon Carlo Acutis after his death, recognizing that he had lived a life of deep faith and devotion. Carlo's case was unique in that his reputation for holiness began to spread almost immediately after his passing in 2006. Those who knew him were deeply moved by his life and word of his devotion, particularly his love for the Eucharist, began to reach people far beyond his hometown of Milan. The local Diocese of Milan officially opened Carlo's cause for canonization in 2013, just 7 years after his death. This was a relatively swift move, reflecting the widespread and growing devotion to him. The diocesan phase of the process involved gathering evidence about Carlo's life, interviewing witnesses who knew him, and collecting his writings and other relevant documents. This thorough investigation was aimed at establishing Carlo's virtues and ensuring that he had lived a life in accordance with Christian principles. His life was scrutinized for its heroic virtue, meaning that he consistently demonstrated qualities like faith, hope, charity, prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance to an extraordinary degree. After the diocesan phase, the gathered evidence was sent to the Vatican's Congregation for the Causes of Saints. Here, theologians and other experts reviewed Carlo's case in detail. This phase is critical, as it determines whether the candidate's life truly exemplifies the kind of holiness that would merit beatification and eventual canonization. In Carlo's case, the congregation found that his life indeed reflected an exceptional commitment to God, particularly through his devotion to the Eucharist and his efforts to use modern technology to evangelize. However, for Carlo to be beatified, the Church required evidence of a miracle attributed to his intercession. This requirement underscores the belief that those in heaven can intercede on behalf of those on earth, demonstrating their closeness to God. In Carlo's case, this miracle came from Brazil, where a young boy suffering from a rare and debilitating condition called annular pancreas was miraculously healed after his family prayed to Carlo for help. The boy, who had been unable to eat solid food, was suddenly cured, and doctors could find no medical explanation for his recovery. The Vatican rigorously investigated this miracle, involving medical experts who confirmed that the healing was indeed inexplicable by natural means. After this investigation, the miracle was officially recognized by Pope Francis in 2020, paving the way for Carlo Acutis' beatification. This event marked Carlo as blessed, meaning he is now recognized as someone who lived a holy life and is in heaven, able to intercede for those on earth. The beatification ceremony, held in Assisi, where Carlo had a special connection, was a significant moment not just for his family and local community, but for Catholics around the world. The beatification of Carlo Acutis was a particularly poignant event because it marked the first time a millennial had been raised to such a level in the Church. It sent a powerful message that holiness is not reserved for the distant past or for those who live in monasteries. It is possible even in the modern world, in the midst of daily life, and even in the digital age. Carlo's beatification ceremony was celebrated globally, especially by young people who saw in Carlo a relatable figure, someone who enjoyed many of the same things they did, yet lived his life in a way that constantly pointed towards God. The final step in Carlo's journey to sainthood is canonization, which requires the recognition of a second miracle attributed to his intercession after his beatification. This process continues as people around the world pray to Carlo, asking for his intercession in their lives. If another miracle is recognized and approved, Carlo Acutis will be declared a saint, fully recognized by the Catholic Church as someone who could be venerated universally. The canonization process, while long and meticulous, is deeply meaningful. It is not just about adding names to a list. It is about recognizing those whose lives exemplify the Christian call to holiness. Carlo Acutis' life, with its blend of modernity and deep spirituality, challenges the Church and the world to see that sainthood is possible in any era and in any context. His beatification has already inspired countless people to deepen their faith, and his eventual canonization will likely continue to fuel this growing devotion. As the Church waits for the next miracle that will lead to Carlo's canonization, his influence continues to grow. His story is one of hope, showing that even in the fast-paced, often secular world of today, it is possible to live a life centered on Christ. Carlo Acutis' process of canonization is not just a recognition of his holiness. It is a powerful testament to the idea that the pursuit of sainthood is a journey that all are called to undertake, no matter where or when they live. Ultimately, Carlo Acutis' path from servant of God to blessed and, God willing, to saint is a journey that continues to inspire. It is a journey that reminds us all that holiness is not about achieving perfection, but about striving to live each day in a way that honors God and serves others. Carlo's life, his miracles, and the ongoing process of his canonization invite us to reflect on our own lives and consider how we, too, can pursue holiness in the everyday moments of our lives. Carlo Acutis' life, though brief, left an indelible mark on the world, serving as a powerful reminder that holiness is accessible to all, regardless of age or era. His profound faith, innovative use of technology for evangelization, and unwavering devotion to the Eucharist exemplify how one can live a life of purpose and sanctity in the modern world. As his journey towards sainthood continues, Carlo's legacy continues to inspire countless individuals, particularly the youth, to seek a deeper relationship with God and to live out their faith with joy and authenticity in every aspect of their lives. I invite you to take a moment and share your personal intentions in the comments below. Let's unite in prayer, asking blessed Carlo Acutis to intercede for us and bring our requests closer to God. Whether you seek guidance, healing, or strength, trust that Carlo's powerful intercession can make a difference. Together, let's journey in faith, supporting each other with the love and grace that Carlo so beautifully exemplified.